Hello, everyone. It's DBJ. Um, we're talking about the worst role players at the tabletop, and we're going to talk about the LIC, low impulse control. Yes, that's the person that also goes 0 to 60. I love Wood WWAD Anders channel where he's talking about 0 to 60. This is the guy who or lady who kind of like a video game in the middle of an encounter, you'll always hear them. I draw my sword and attack. I uh, I pee in the corner. I light the guy's beard on fire. I These are the people who love chaotic neutral and love to do the dumbest, most obnoxious things. Um, Start combat right in the middle, just when you're getting into the nitty gritty of your story. Low impulse control. Let me give you an example. Uh, Characters go into a tavern. An old gentleman walks up to them. He's got a tattered old scroll in his hand, maybe a map to something. You've just started. Everyone's made their characters. You're finally about to start the adventure, and you do the everyone's in a tavern and there's a map on the table. And the low impulse control person will say, "Well, I asked the old man where he got the map from." And the old man goes, "Well, it's been a long time, Sonny." And before you can even finish a sentence, low impulse control goes, "I punched the old guy in the face." Why? Well, he was looking at me funny. They'll come up with all kinds of dumb excuses. Well, I'm chaotic neutral. That's what I would do. Low impulse control are people that play that are completely divorced and have zero concept of the ability to be immersed in the game. These are the people that if they made a Lord of the Rings movie, it would be such a flop that everyone would go, "Well, why did Gandalf go in the corner and pee again? Why did Boromir drink all that acid and set himself on fire? Why did Gimli attack the shopkeeper for no reason?" These are the low impulse control are some of the worst role players you want at your table. These are the people that will take a highly intense, um, very dramatic scene and completely ruin it. Low impulse controllers will present themselves before a king, and these are the people that will pee in the corner, light the king's beard on fire, um, punch people in the face for no reason. Um, they will draw their swords on every other PC in the group for the most minor of infractions, grab for the dice, and they just want to start combat. Okay, um, they just want to ruin your game. And low impulse controllers are very similar to derailers. Um, Low impulse controllers just assume that just because there's a creature there, you gotta attack it. The minute you say orc, they're rolling for the dice. Roll initiative. I want to hit it. You say dragon, you say elf, and they're going at it. They haven't listened to anything you've said. All they know is creature, probably stat. Oh, that's experience points and treasure. Let's kill it. Low impulse controllers will also take social situations, turn it immediately into combat. Um, they will not use diplomacy. They won't use seduction. They won't even use intimidation. They will just draw their sword and attack. I cast a spell. Um, the shopkeeper won't make a deal in a room. He wants 3 gold pieces, and I only want to give him one. I draw my sword and attack. And a lot of times, the low impulse controller will have a character that's rather superior to anything that they attack. Their low impulse controllers can be quite cowardly if they're experienced players. Some of the brand new players won't even know. They'll walk into a cave, and when you say dragon, the first thing they do is want to draw their sword and rush in and attack for no good reason. No, they won't have any subtlety at all ever. Um, you want to keep the low impulse controllers from playing the chaotic neutrals. If they're experienced players, that's usually the first alignment they're going to go to. And because low impulse controllers are similar to derailers, you don't want them to control the pace of your game, which is why I'm calling them low impulse controllers. Um, they will set the pace of your game, and you need to shut that down right away. First, you need to find out who is a low impulse controller. Usually, they will have a reputation for having low impulse control. So you want to find out who that player is, and you want to confront it up front. Listen, I'm not going to tolerate it. It's stupid. It's not justified. I know you think it's funny, but it really isn't. It's actually rather disruptive to everyone else in the game. But you can also stop the low impulse controller by doing this. Let the low impulse controller do something that derails the game, and let the game completely stop. You're done. I'm going to punch the shopkeeper in the face. Okay. And after having the city go after them, after having the guards go after them, you just start to create a world for the low impulse controller that starts to unravel their entire world. And when their character dies, because eventually at some point they will, you just say, well, when you're ready to play well with others, we'll let you join back in the game. But since you had low impulse control, you can step to the side. Now, the low impulse controller will attack fellow players too. And in those instances, unless the players are into that kind of gaming, and I'm not, where one player doesn't want to carry as much treasure at the other one, or one player smacks the other one in the back of the head, and so the first thing, I grab the dice and I draw my sword, I get plus 18. Once that breaks down into anarchy, you don't want that person there, okay? And so therefore, you've really got to shut it down. There's not much you can do in player versus player attacking each other except to really shut it down. Unless it makes absolute sense as a game master or a dungeon master, you're going to have to shut it down. And really, I hate to say it, you really don't want to play with that person. That young man or young lady that you're playing with is such a disruption that they can really drain all the fun out of the game. So if you're an LIC, please stop. Look at yourself. Understand that other people really don't like what you're doing. You have a really bad habit. Stop it. I don't like low impulse controllers. Usually I let them derail the game the first 10 minutes and then I leave. So that's my suggestion to Dungeon Masters, and thank you very much.